So the topics of the day is disruptions and innovations. I will take my 15 minutes, I think, to take you through, I think, some other disruptive and disruption that we have seen. I'm going to start with a couple of statistics. You will see on the top left, hopefully from the bottom of the room as well, the average lifespan of the corporation from the S&P 500. And you will see at the beginning of the curve that lifespan of the corporation in the 1960 was average 61 years. In the 1980, it went down to 25 years. Today, average lifespan is about 18 years. And that's happening. At that pace, I think we consider that 75 of the corporations in the S&P 500 will no longer be in that, S&P 500 by 2027. That's a huge turnaround of company, and innovation is not only innovation, but innovation is a big factor of that shift. Next one, I think, will cover, the technology adoptions. On the back of that, you will see maybe the traditional technology adoptions with the innovator, the early adopters, the mass market adoptions. And the red curve show you the much faster technology adoptions. And we can have an example in this region, in the mobile industry. If I look, 20, 25 years ago, a lot of mobile were made, I think, in Europe, and it shifted to Apple and Samsung and then HTC, and now it's shifting again. I won't say that Apple will disappear tomorrow, but it's shifting again to China. We consider the next billion smartphone will be built by Chinese company, whether they are Lenovo, whether they're Xiaomi and OnePlus in Shenzhen, and et cetera, et cetera. So the adoption curve, I think, speed is getting faster and faster. Startup world. We consider that compared to 15 to 20 years ago, there's about 10 times more startup. Every single government around the world are trying, I think, to pull money into R&D and build up, I think, the startup ecosystems, either because the economy is struggling or because there is a new way of doing business and be more innovative. And it costs about 1/10 of the cost of starting a business today compared to 15 to 20 years ago as well, because of distributed, resources and share of knowledge and cloud computing. So that's a factor of 100 to be disrupted. And most of the disruptions, within the industry might not come from your competitions, but probably come from a smaller guy that will bring the product, faster to the market and answering, I think, the need of the consumer, much better than you do, and integrate that product in the overall ecosystems and services that you're offering. So just watch out. Agile development, I think this is a terminology that started about 10 to 12 years in the Silicon Valley. And in the traditional way of developing a business, we used to collect, specifications, write the specification, validate the specifications, build the product, and go back and see a customer, 18 to 24 months later, and guess what? I think that product is no longer what the customer wants because yes, the market has changed, etc. So you have increased the risk of incompatibility between what the customer wants and what you're offering. With the agile development, I think we're building what they call fast prototyping or minimum viable product that we bring to the market straight away. And we're testing the market. And so the risk is huge at the beginning, but we're killing the ones that are not working and we're starting over, in a much quicker fashion. So agile and organizations development, in a more flexible way. Business services, the whole layer of some of the industry decouple. Infrastructure are shared, through the cloud computing. Operation are outsourced. Applications and services, that you're buying are online through the cloud computing. So a huge, I think, shift in the way we consume and we operate company today. Consumer are, for me, the driving seat of what you're doing. And the whole chain gets squeezed, I think, behind that because they are building your product, they are designing your product, and we will see that in a couple of examples later. And they're, of course, consuming that through, different devices. Content sources, content sources, come traditionally from the web and the mobile. but the Internet of Objects bring that to completely different, levels. We will be deploying, I think, medical devices, well-being, fitness, devices. Car will be equipped with sensors, et cetera, et cetera. We drive, I think, the whole analytics and big data, to the different level. Devices, the average statistics, I think, between Asia and Europe shows that an average person in Shanghai, Hong Kong, have 4 to 5 devices, where in Germany, I just pick Germany like that, so don't get upset, is 0.9. So that's just, I think, the way we consume and we get connected in Asia. I will take a couple of examples. So this is not Puma, this is Nike, sorry for that. This is, a self-home design, I think, software where you can completely build your house from zero, from the walls, from the equipment inside, the smoke detectors, the kitchens, etc. And those examples just, highlight the fact that the power of design and designing product is at the hand of the consumer, and I believe no longer inside a company. The second example is the Nike shoes. Of course, Nike has been driving a lot of innovations, and that's a particular website where you can, design, the shoe. There is, I think, hundreds of ways of designing that pair of shoes. I've tried last night, and I couldn't figure out, I think, which one I wanted at the end. But that's a flexibility that the consumer, I think, have today. I will take, the car example. This is the Ford Mustang. You can, design your entire car, not only the color that we used to do, but everything. This is the list of things, and every single bumpers and wheels and top, has, 15 to 20 different choices. So that's the flexibility that the consumer has to design the product. Same thing in the luxury market. This is the particular work that we've done for Longchamp, where you can design, I think, your own bag. So it's not only, I think, the cheap fast fashion type of things that the luxury market also is adapting, customize, a product that you can build and design yourself, from the shape, the colors, etc., etc. The next example is a prototype. There's a phone box. People say, yes, maybe I can design my product, but in that particular case, I can design my own specifications. This is a phone box that people get tired, I think, to buy the phone and change the phone every 18 months or even 12 months, maybe in Hong Kong. So I say, let's buy a phone that I can choose if I want a better camera, choose if I want a longer battery life, choose, and etc. And you just design, I think, your own thing. You buy, the different, pieces and parts from the website. And if one part fails, you don't need to throw, your phone to the rubbish bin. You can, just change, I think, your battery and change your camera and change your screen. So that's huge, I think, step forwards, I think, in customizing and designing, I think, your own product. Of course, all those, examples put a big stretch, I think, on the rate of the product cycle management and the supply chains, behind that. So that's the innovation that's happening today. One thing that we've seen also in the ecosystem of startup and even larger company today is the open innovations. Probably, I think some of the professors, I think, will speak about that in other slides, but it's very, very difficult and very costly to keep all your R&D inside. And probably, I think, you will miss up, I think, some of the opportunity from, I think, the pool of talent that does exist, I think, out in the market. So people believe, some of the core asset that maybe no longer core needs to be sold, and you need to open up to an open network of people that can solve problems for you. And that is called open innovations. There is people say, oh, this is for the basic things. I think you can do crowdsourcing. You can, you can outsource, the design of your logo. You can outsource the design of your company names. Yes, but the couple of examples, I will show you here, people are completely outsourcing, a new braking system for heavy vehicles, a new manufacturing process for a medical instrument, an improved algorithm for transport services optimization. So people are outsourcing, I think, big, R&D topics outside to a community of experts that, because there is like 3,000 of them compared to 20 people in your R&D, will solve the problem, I think, much faster and in a more efficient way and give you more options. Those tickets, I checked that website. This is EDR Labs in Europe. They work with Airbus. They work with Schneider Electric. They work with Thales. So, and the ticket is like 20, 15, 20K euro, I think, rewards for the people who can, solve, I think, that particular problems. I think the graph on the top here shows that most of the sourcing R&D that are posted, on the Open Innovation Network come from the life science, 43%. And after that is computer science and IT, and the rest is split between the other industries. So, and 53% of those contracts are research contracts. So, solving, I think, R&D issues. As I mentioned, I think the couple of examples here. What does that mean, I think, for, this is supply chain and procurement, I think, even. What does that mean for that is we used to, I think, huge corporation designing their own product, R&D product, so, and behind that we used to have, massive scale factory to manufacture, I think, those. Today we're shifting, I think, to, and whether it will happen, I think, tomorrow it will take 20 years to do that. That's a different issue. But now we're putting, I think, the power in the consumer to design and define, I think, what your next product is going to be. And that's, grassroots innovations. That's crowdsourcing. That's open innovations. And that's very, very, I think, important to follow up, I think, what's going on today. After that, I think it might not go to a traditional factory. We call that digital factory. And whether, 3D printing is a big topic, I think, for the past 5-10 years. I think there will be consolidation in that market for sure. But, you might need to bring a more flexible and digital factory closer to the consumer. We've seen, I think, in a previous slide that, considering, I think, the increase of wages in China, factory might be a bit closer, I think, the consumer to address, I think, those ongoing demand and customizable product, I think, from the consumer. And, of course, the delivery aspect of what's going on the e-commerce space is drastically changing today. We're seeing, I think, Alibaba investing in China Post, in Singapore Post. We're seeing Amazon, I think, building huge warehouse, I think, in Europe to address, I think, the e-commerce delivery chain. Because e-commerce at the end is just a transaction. You still need to get the product to the people. So the challenge is, of course, is customer volatility. People are, buying more and more, I think, through the mobile and through the internet. We've seen, I think, the example of the single day in China, which is the 11/11 in November. The transaction was 9 billion on that particular day, and 50% of that was through mobile. So, and the loyalty, I think, I won't say does not exist, but people are switching very, very easily from brands and comparings, etc. So customer centricity, of course, might need to get a bit closer, I think, to the customer to understand what they're doing, to predict. The beauty of this customizable website is we're collecting a huge amount of information as well. So when you collect a huge amount of information, you can do, predictions about, in that particular, Ford Mustang car, the previous people who have, I think there is about 2.6 million cars who have been designed for that website. That's a tremendous, maybe the rooftop is always blue, I think, in their choice through that website, or the wheel, I think, will be at certain, design and shape. So that's analytics and predictions that brings a lot of value, I think, to the rest of the supply chain as well. Of course, we've talked about, I think, faster, product introductions and shorter life cycle, which I guess put a lot of stress as well in the fast fashion industry, apparel, etc. Manufacturer monitoring scoring. This is something that, talking a couple of friends working in a supply chain and purchasing department, that's something they're already doing. Get involved in contribute. We as a digital company, we're building a lot of portal for supplier. We're building B2B e-commerce, and we're seeing more and more, I think, the supplier contributing to the manufacturer, I think, product cycle developments by communicating about, the innovations around the raw materials. As we discussed earlier, I think 50-60% of the price is material, and is very important. So if that supplier can bring that innovations back into the product cycle, that make a better, of course, partnerships and relationship, I think, with your own manufacturer and client, and less focus on the pricing and margin. Open supply chain, I think we've seen, that open innovation networks happening. We see a lot of things happening in the supply chain where some of the big guy might be focusing on supply chain management, product life cycle, so get a little bit more involved, and subcontracting some of the purely manufacturing to tier 1, 2, 3 partners. Digital integration, all of that. As mentioned, I think if you design a product in Europe, manufacture in China, I think that's 12 hours difference, and it's very difficult. So if you do not integrate your logistics, your sourcings, your ERP into, I think, the portal of your customer or to the e-commerce, and do not understand, I think, and what's going to be, I think, the predictions of one particular product being bought on internet versus the other is going to be difficult, I think, to do the plannings and the manufacturing, I think, behind that. So that's all for me. I think this is just, I think, a quick highlights about what we are seeing on the e-commerce and digital and innovations, a little bit more from the consumer point of view, but a lot of integration happening on the back. We're working with Decathlon, I think, worldwide on that one. We're working with Volkswagen. We're working on the online catalog management with Furver for the people from France, etc. And a lot of things happening as well on the digital integration and IT integration on the back. Thank you so much.